So after 2 phone calls and hours of negotiation, Ukraine's future hinges on power. I'm talking about their energy infrastructure. Vladimir Putin has agreed to stop attacking it, and this is part of the limited ceasefire deal that he has accepted, a deal that he negotiated with Donald Trump. And Trump himself now wants a share. He wants to run Ukraine's power plants. So this is the new bargaining chip, Ukraine's energy infrastructure. It is getting a lot of attention now. In fact, throughout this war, it has been a target. According to reports, Ukraine has suffered 1,000 attacks in 3 years, and 2/3 of its power grid has been wiped out. Some 8 million households have been plunged into darkness. This has happened through various stages of the conflict. Long story short, Russia has relentlessly targeted Ukraine's energy supplies, and it has proved to be an effective war strategy. You see, in any war, power stations are vulnerable. By striking them, Russia wanted to weaken Ukraine and dent the morale of its people. Without power, they were forced to suffer harsh conditions, especially during the winter months, when temperatures plunge below zero. Without electricity or gas, Ukrainians have struggled to survive in the cold. And Russia has been ruthless on this front. It has launched mass attacks on power facilities using drones and powerful missiles. And to a large extent, Russia has been successful. But thankfully for Ukraine, there was never a total blackout. So this limited ceasefire is a welcome breakthrough for Kiev. It secures their power facilities. The Ukrainian president says he wants a watertight agreement with the Russians.
We were talking about energy security, energy networks, and other civilian infrastructure. That is why I have told President Trump that I think it is important that we prepare the list of objects, formats that Russian long-range missile could not hit, because we're thinking that those objects fit the list of energy and civilian infrastructure.
It is a limited ceasefire, but both Ukraine and Russia will welcome it, because Ukraine too has targeted Russian energy infrastructure repeatedly. Kiev has been launching attacks on Russian oil supplies. It has hit oil refineries, depots, storage units, pipelines and pumping stations. The goal was to hurt Russian oil supplies. In some cases, Kiev was successful. It disrupted the flow of oil, specifically from Russian seaport terminals, and also the Druzhba pipeline. This pipeline is an economic lifeline for Russia. It supplies crude to some European nations. Reports say Ukraine cut Russia's oil refining capacity by as much as 10%. Moscow, though, dismisses this claim. Essentially, they're both playing the same game. Russia targeted Ukraine's power supply. Ukraine targeted Russia's economy to dent revenues from oil exports. And this is still happening. Yesterday, there were fresh strikes in Russia. Ukraine attacked the city of Krasnodar. This is a shipment and storage facility. The city has a shipment and storage facility. It processes more than 28,000 barrels of oil per day. This oil is meant for export. Kiev attacked it using suicide drones. It led to a massive fire. Reports say one oil reservoir was burnt.
Unfortunately, we see that for now there is no reciprocity on the part of the Kiev regime. There have been attempts to strike our energy infrastructure facilities. You know about that, information on this is also available. So we are closely watching whether the Kiev regime will listen to the firm intention of the presidents of Russia and the United States to do everything possible, step by step, to get on the track of a peaceful settlement.
So they're exchanging fire and accusations. Russia says Ukraine is attacking its energy facilities, and Ukraine says Russia is attacking its power infrastructure. This sounds like a ceasefire only on paper. It is yet to take effect. The terms are yet to be worked out. Both sides could use this reprieve, though. The ceasefire won't end the war. It will just be a temporary pause, but a crucial one. If it holds, this 30-day period could be the beginning of the end of the war. Good afternoon, Prime Minister Lakshman.
Good afternoon.
Making headlines in India well before you landed here.
New Delhi has raised concerns in the recent past vis-a-vis the Khalistani separatists that operate in New Zealand. How do you propose to address these concerns?
In our democracy, we believe in the freedom of speech.
Organizations like the Al-Qaeda or ISIS were to hold a referendum in New Zealand, something related to one of your Western partners. Would you say the same?
We have very well-defined laws in our democracy.
No specific conversation on Khalistan on this visit.
It was raised with me. I also raised back our position.
Are you willing to be open to these concerns from New Delhi?
As I keep coming back to you to say, we have strong laws in our system.
Do you think that Ukraine is at its weakest position?
This war is not about Ukraine.
Do you believe that your president was insulted? Yes or no question. Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.
Diplomacy will work?
Yes,
Do you
it
think
will.
Russia will give up the territory if there is no ceasefire? Do you propose to keep fighting?
We are ready to resist.
Do you think there will be peace?
Many countries gave us 3 days.
President Trump said you don't have any cards.
We do not have another choice.
How do you keep fighting?
You ask me once again the same question.
Because you've not
We
answered my
have-
question.
We have enough capacities to keep fighting.